Hello guys, and welcome at the sprint race of round 2 of the Toyota MR2 Championship at Brands Hatch. It's lights out and we are on our way to the first corner. Once again we have a super launch, we are in the middle for the first corner. We tightened a little bit the gap to make sure we have a good exit and we end up in first place. Crispy made it up to the second place. Really nice, and now we need to manage a gap, making sure we break more and more loose of the pack. In the rear you see a lot of pushing, you know Alex and Slider Pete is coming in. But on this track you can see it's not so easy to overtake. We have at the moment a really big gap, I think it's around 1.5 seconds. And we need to start pushing. Not 100% because this track is really unforgiving. We have qualified ourselves in this race at P3. We were off by 0.5 seconds. I had a little bit of a problem this week. I trained on the wrong track. I had the old version of the calendar and they switched it around round 4 and now we have Brands Hatch. So I didn't practice a lot. I only started on Sunday is the race, and I managed to find the setup in 1 hour. It was not too bad, it felt really good, much better than at the high speed ring. So let's talk a little bit about the setup I used. I lowered the ride height 40 centimeters to decrease the body roll. The anti-roll bars are in the front at 6, at the rear at 7 also for the body roll. For me personally the front is kind of stable. If I lower it by 1 I get a little bit too much oversteer like I want, so you make a setup like how you want. Well, for me these anti-roll bars are perfect. Then the bump damping we softened by 2 and the rebound damping is stiffened up by 2. This was for understeer during the mid corner at the apex. This setup, it helped me a lot, a little bit with the dampers, but most of it came from the differential, which we come on later. The spring rates. We put the fronts and the rears together up, normally it's around 2.30 I think. We stiffen the dome, but also something different. Normally the rears are stiffened I think more than the fronts, and I did it other way around. For me this helped me a lot for the oversteer on the exits. Then the camber, I adjusted how I feel. So the rears are 2.1, it's good for the rotation, and the fronts I also put at 2. I wanted it a little bit lower, but I had a lot of issues with understeering mid corner, so I increased the camber a bit for confidence. Then the front toe is around 0.10 outwards. It's very important for the beginning, the initiation of the turn. If you put it outwards, the inner wheel will steer in the car a lot quicker. We get a little bit more response in the front tires in combination with reducing the toe in the rears, which gives us more rotation into the corners. Then go to the differential. We have opened up the differential a lot more. It will help us a lot with oversteer at the exit. For me personally, you know, it comes all to comfort. My driving is not the best of the world, but it's decent. But you need to make the car as suited for you as possible, where you feel the most comfortable at. So this differential setting works perfectly for me. Now we come to the power of the car, so I upgraded the inlet and the exhaust. Everything on the race. I don't know, maybe some support, all depends on the power, because you need to have the 275 horsepower. I don't know what's different about, because most of them are in English. When they set up the lobby, there is some difference. They have 275 for them, but I have 297 horsepower. It's not difference, but I don't know why it is. Maybe because they don't use kilometers an hour and miles an hour. I don't know what's up with these. But then I detuned the engine with the restrictor and the ECU. I don't know if it works, you know, 87 at the ECU and the power restriction is 95. Why I choose to detune the power of the ECU is because the power band of the turbo, because I use a big turbo also, is much better, so you have a more straight line of the torque. That's why I use the ECU tool instead of the restrictor. So we are back at a race, and as you can see, our lead has been grown to 6 or 7 seconds, I think. But because they are fighting so much behind, it's a three-way battle between Chris, Pete and Alex. I managed to run away smoothly, because first couple of laps I don't take so much risk. You need to come into rhythm, making sure you will end up in the end of the race. Also, the tactic of the sprint race is totally different than the feature race. Here you don't need to manage anything, you just sprint, you don't need to refuel, so making sure you think about the strategy. If you take the medium tires, it will always be 2 seconds a lap slower than the soft tires, and they will last 2 to 3 laps more. But here we choose to do the one stop. Why, you maybe think? For the one stopper, also the pit straight, it only takes up 15 seconds of all the time. You lose actually not so much time, and that's why you go for the one stopper. We jump to the 7th lap. This is our in lap. As you can see, the tires are not totally bad, but better, for my opinion, to go halfway. Just going halfway, don't take the risk, because you need to pit. Making sure you manage the tires a little bit. The in lap is so dangerous, it's so tricky for me. Do not make a mistake here, do not corner cut. We make it really nice, and now we are waiting for the pit stop. Only new tires, no refueling needed. Very nice, and away we go again. Here we see Toasty is still going, and we managed to get ahead, which can give us a big advantage. So if Alex or Slider Pete catch up with Toasty, I win a little bit more time, because I know if they get free air, they will come charging down. Chris made a mistake. I think he went off track, or I don't know exactly. I should have seen it in a replay, but I didn't do it. So now we know if they are free air, they are coming charging. We need to keep up the pace, not making any mistakes, and hoping for the best. I think the gap was at this moment was around 8 seconds, so it's quite a lot to gain. Still have the fastest lap time, just get in the quick pits, but I think Alex and Pete are gonna change this. Also, I want to talk about something important for this car. If you want to drive, maybe people from the club are watching. If you want to drive the MR2, it's very important to not hit 100% of the braking force. It will cause a lot of understeer. In the initiation of a corner, you can go fully 100, but then slowing down to 80 or 60%. It will help a lot with controlling the car, not having so much understeer, and going faster through a corner. So if you use it, I am for sure your lap times will be much faster. You maybe gain 1 second, I don't know, maybe more, 2 seconds. But it's very important you do that. For all who's watching, driving the cars, it works on every car. I watched it on a video about ACC, the course competizione, and was also hitting 100% of the brake with force, because it will go into the ABS, and that's something you don't want. You want all times control, you want to balance the car out, which you can do by braking correctly. So for the rest of the race I will put on some music, because there is nothing much to say about. We have the gap is slowing down a little bit, because Alex did a 36.6, so it will be good. So for who's ever still watching, see you and enjoy the rest of the race.